Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Annassa. So happy to see you all this morning. Oh my goodness. What an honor and a pleasure to be here with you. So let's start with meditation. And first of all, I want to ask um, just give me a show of hands if you really enjoyed the astrological meditation last week. We can do that again, or we can do something different. Uh, Astrology, raise your hands. Something different? Okay. Say what?
Not everyone may have been there last week.
Oh, it's true. Not everybody was here last week. So we're going to do it again just for fun. And please bear with me if it wasn't your most enjoyable thing. We'll try to make it accessible. Because as we said last week, just because we don't know about the astrology doesn't mean that we're not experiencing it. And so that astrology, to develop some sensitivity within our biofield, to be able to be informed by the astrological bodies, is going to help us. And so it can get to the point where you actually resonate with the astral bodies that are flowing through you and the information that they're bringing. And so that you understand that this is what's informing your view of the world in this moment. And you can begin to follow those transits in the sky through your own being. So we'll do that again today. And if it's not interesting to you, please bear with us and see if you can begin to feel these energies. So take your attention inside and feel into the, first of all, visualize the solar system with the sun and the moon at the center. And know that Saturn in the Vedic system is the outer planet. And so we are bringing in these planetary energies from the outside in. With the sun and the moon being a large part of our personal identity. So we'll get to those last in the higher chakras. So feel into the tip of your tailbone. And this energy begins as Saturn energy. Saturn is discipline, focus, the harsh reality planet. This is at the tip of our tailbone. And you can just say the word Saturn. And then you add to that the Mars energy, which is the just do it planet. It's the planet of external expression, courage, the warrior. Feel into those energies. And then you move up into the sex chakra. The second chakra. And the energies here are Jupiter, abundance, knowledge, children, wisdom, truth. And then Jupiter is joined by Venus. Venus is the planet of love, sensuality, sexuality, creativity. So we have Jupiter and Venus in the sex chakra. Feel into those energies and breathe. And now feel into the energy center just below your belly button. And here again, we have Mars energy, the capacity to do, to act in the world, to express ourselves with courage, bravery, focus, physical strength, action, protection. And joining Mars is sun, radiance, personal identity. Our beingness, our radiant personality. This is Sun and Mars. And this expands all the way up to the solar plexus. Mars and Sun. Breathe into that space. Then we come up to the heart center. Again, Venus appears. Love, creativity, sensuality, feminine, beingness. Beauty, harmony, peace. Joining Venus is Moon. Moon, again, very feminine, mother, nurturing, a different kind of protection, protection of innocence. The depth of emotion. Intimacy. And then joining Venus and Moon is Saturn. The discipline, to see how we express through our heart, to love with wisdom, and truth. Feel into those energies. And now take your attention to the throat center. The throat center is Mercury. It's all about communication. And this is the mind of analysis, data, but also writing and expression, speaking, mastery of language. And now take your attention into the third eye. This is again the territory of moon, emotions, water, the tides. And joining moon, we have Jupiter, abundance, wisdom, knowledge, religion. Jupiter is the guru planet, father, along with moon, mother. And then to the top of the head, sun, radiant sun, the flower of our inspiration opens to receive the sun. Pranic plasma from the source of our being comes to us through the open flower of the sun. And then we have the two poles of the nodes of the moon. Rahu, the ground we walk on, underneath our bodies. And Ketu, out the top of our head. to the top of our aura, where our fingers would touch if we made a halo around our head. K2 is the planet, the node of enlightenment. As you're ready, gently bring your attention back. And we'll begin to speak. So, we're sharing this with you because it's our interest in practice and it feels unbounded in what it has to offer over time. So, we'll see, where this direction goes over time. We don't really know. And Rebecca's study of astrology at this point is so superficial in understanding that other than generalized work like this, there's not much that she's willing to share because it's all very, very, uh, I think the word would be infantile in its uh, depth of understanding. So we're completely willing to share what we know, which is, a minimal energetic understanding of how the planets work in our body. But the true complexity of astrology is really beyond our conversation in how it relates to the individual expression. So that part we can't share yet because we don't know enough. And our expression through Rebecca is limited to the information that she has mastered. And so this is our limitation, is trying to speak to you through third dimensional language and energetic resonance. So as we have the information to expand your field of energetic resonance, this is what we're providing to you so that you can experience us in a way that can articulate itself to you, if that makes any sense. So we welcome your questions. We're really, really happy to be with you. And always, we are searching for ways to increase your access to us in an energetic way. And that the intersection between third dimensional reality and where we are in the 12th dimension is very difficult for us to get to you. So just understand that we are in the unseen and we are trying as hard as we can to be accessible. And this is why we come through a human being so that you can focus on our energy for a few hours every week. So, how may we serve today? What would you like to know?
Go ahead, Wally.
Hi, Wally.
Good morning.
So happy to see you.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you. Would you say more about something I think you mentioned last week, which was going to the Annassa temple to get some understanding about or to resolve an issue?
Yes, we're happy to speak about that. And this is an integral practice, really, is to, when you get to the depth of your understanding and you said Ho'oponopono, and you really still don't understand a certain energetic configuration that has showed up within you that involves pain or whatever involves, doesn't matter. When you reach that level of sort of, I give up, I don't get it, that is a very good time to go to the Annassa temple and sit in that energy, that not understanding, that willingness to just receive a deeper answer about what this is about. And you go in complete allowing to receive, allowing to receive. And willingness to be expanded to actually receive the information that can allow you to make the change to move out of these energies that you feel have been trapping you. And so it is, we want to give you just, this is not a word of caution, but and when you ask a question from this depth of yourself, you have to understand that the answer that you will receive will allow you to change. It will contain within it the energy for you to become more. And that becoming more is expansive and requires the willingness to incorporate the energy that you have asked for. And as that energy is received, you will begin to change. And change in a system that has been in place for a very long time, decades of our experience. The first thing we experience is our resistance to that change. And so that we experience as discomfort because we are used to having a capacity that's this big, and suddenly that capacity goes like this. And so there is a reorganization that happens as you go from this to this, and we experience that as discomfort, as instability, as change. And so that will, of necessity, bring out in us some response that's like, whoa, this isn't what I asked for. Because, and that's okay. But we're telling you about it because we want you to expect that. Not that it's a wonderful process. And the first few times you engage it, it's very unsettling. And that's part of the process. And that's okay. This is what we're begging for, is to become bigger, is to actually live from a bigger place in ourselves, not just a mental understanding that's different. Of course, that will come. But we've all read great books and walked away feeling changed by the experience. And then 3 days later, it's gone and we're the same person we were before. This is what happens with ideas, great ideas. We try, we think, oh my God, this is life changing. But because it's not integral to our real live through experience, we haven't like absorbed the energy of that change. It's just come in as a mentalized idea and it floats right out. So what we're asking for when we go to the Annassa temple and we take these deep, disquieting energies that we have been unable to resolve within ourselves, we take them to the Annassa temple and we lay down on a treatment table in that temple and we say, I don't get it. Please inform me. And we just allow ourselves to be informed. And then we feel the same when we get up. Maybe we feel some relief or some opening, but there's not a significant change in understanding often after we've been there. What happens is that energetic change has happened. And over time, it will begin to express itself through us. And so when 2 days later, we feel like everything is rocking and rolling and we don't know what's going on and what happened and who did this to us and what is going on, that is our answer beginning to filter through the depths of our being, requesting us to open deeper, to really experience this change that is trying to come through us to elevate our understanding into fifth dimensional reality, where we become pure love. And this doesn't happen just, it does happen because we ask for it. Asking is the first step, asking to be more. And then what happens as we start to change is we're like, oh my God, this isn't what I asked for. And we try to push it back down. The genie is wanting to come out of the bottle. And we have requested it. And so, there is this resistance and expansion and resistance and expansion. And it's okay. Whatever you do is fine. But when you understand that it has a context of trying to make you bigger, and that there will be resistance, and there will be embracing, and there will be resistance, and this is all fine. And when you can sit and just be quiet and feel and allow both things to exist at the same time, the expansion and the resistance, just allow it. And so you will feel both expanded and contracted in the same moment. And that is a step toward equanimity. Allowing yourself to be in both states at the same time. And then you can feel this pulsation. You breathe into that pulsation, and there is a sense of coming home to who you really are, which is this expansive, non-judgmentalness that allows being, that doesn't just reject. Because what we do to ourselves over and over and over is judge ourselves to be not enough. This is the human condition. This is what we are asking to expand into. We're asking to be relieved of our self-judgment that has been imposed on us from our matrix of belief since the second we arrived. And when we understand that all of this pain that we feel has its origins in self-judgment that somebody taught us was the only way to be in the world, then we can begin to breathe into that rigidity of judgment that doesn't allow us to embrace our divinity, that feels like, if we allow this, we're suddenly going to be an unbounded person that will have no ability to restrict their behavior, that will be completely, wild child in the world. How many people do you really see? Nobody. That's not going to happen. What's going to happen is a layer is going to melt and you're going to feel wonderful. And then another layer will be exposed and you'll melt that layer. And there will be additional wonder and awe. And what we are coming to is our childlike capacity to experience life in its fullness. When we look at a flower, right now there's so many flowers that are just bursting with the spring. They're bursting with life. And so we see the life cycle, this awe of expansion as the flower comes into its fullness and the radiance of the sun into this flower. And we understand that we have that within us. Every one of our energy centers is wanting to burst open in this way and receive the light of beingness. And that the potential for us to become radiant light beings is there in every moment. And so in our spiritual practice, we are cultivating this radiance with each of our energetic centers, with our entire being, to merge with our own divinity, which is the source of every living thing. and that we don't have to wait for death to do that. We don't have to wait for anything. We can do it in this moment, in just a small way, taking our breath inside and understand that we are breathing the breath of life. We are breathing in pranic plasma that is informing us of our unity with all that is, that every cell of our being comes out of this same union, and that we are that, and that the birth of a human being, the existence of a human being, is in itself miraculous. And that in every moment we are rebuilding ourselves. Our body is rebuilding itself out of the materials of this atmosphere, this planet, this. We are here in the physical, in our beingness. And this is a miracle. And of course, we've come from the unseen. How else could we exist? We have come from the unseen and we have materialized. And this is a miracle. And we forget because we get habituated to being in this body, in this place, and we get kind of bored. You know, everything begins to feel like there's a sameness to it, and we aren't in touch with our own creative awareness, which is the awareness of our beingness that is actually changing in every single moment, whether we engage it or not. There is nothing boring about being a human being except when the thoughts start to go like this in our head. When they go back and forth in a repetitive cycle, that's boring. Beingness is this aliveness of flow. It's connecting to the flow in and around us in every experience that we have. And the more refined our perception of these various flows coming through us, expressing themselves, opening like this, closing like this. We think opening is good and closing is bad. We kind of get that in our vocabulary. Not true. It's just pulsation. There is no judgment that is appropriate to pulsation, any more than you would judge a child for not being an adult. You know, these things all have their place. Everything has its place, and everything is in motion. And so part of it is we want to stop that motion so we can understand it in this moment, because our brains want to reduce everything to linear reality. And the truth is, we don't live in a linear reality, except in our minds. And once we get that, then we understand that just the act of breathing is releasing us from that linear. Because breathing is connected to the unseen. And this is why breath in every spiritual practice is the beginning. Feeling into breath is feeling into the unseen. Have we answered your question, Wally?
Yes, more than. But did have a follow-up, which is, you mentioned doing Ho'oponopono first. And what's the reason for that?
The reason for doing Ho'oponopono first is because you want to clear out your self-judgment. This is what Ho'oponopono does. And the 3 sentences, we're so happy that the whole thing about forgiveness has been dropped as a Christian edition, because the concept of forgiveness implies that there is something to be forgiven, that there is something wrong in what is happening. And the truth about divinity is that divinity never requires forgiveness. It just is. It's just, it's just everything that is and the power behind it. And that, yes, it contains life and death. It contains every experience, but it's not judgmental. It just is. And so when we take the judgment away, we also take away the need for forgiveness. And so we can drop that because it's about I am love. I love you. We say to our deepest inner, thank you. Thank you is like, you know, I'm so grateful to have this moment. So there's love, there's gratitude. And then there's I'm sorry. And the I'm sorry is to our deepest inner that we're not in total connection. We are apologizing to ourselves for not being in the fullness of ourselves. So there's nothing wrong here. But in doing that, we melt the layers of our self-judgment. That's really what Ho'oponopono is about. It's about tipping the canoe of any kerfuffle, we'll use that word, any kerfuffle that we have put on ourselves as judgment to reduce ourselves to somebody we think our parents would have liked. It could be as simple as that, you know. We are never going to be the person that our parents would have liked. And guess what? We wouldn't like that person anyway, because it's limited, because it's really, you know, and so we're stuck in this matrix of belief that has nothing to do with reality. And so when we say Ho'oponopono, we are melting that matrix of belief so that we're not reducing our experience in the Annassa temple to just that melting. We can do that ourselves. And then we go to the Annassa temple, if we can, in our awe and wonder of the potential. And then we open ourselves to that. And then we walk away a changed person. And we allow that change to filter through ourselves as we become more. And we understand that our emotions don't always like becoming more. And that's okay. That's part of the contract, because we are making a contract with our inner selves to teach us to be more. And the simple reason we're doing that is because in aligning with the source of our creativity, we start to get happier. We start to feel more at peace with why we were born, what our blueprint is, and how to align with it. And in that alignment, there is a sense of peace, wholeness, joy even. So in our alignment, we begin to approach the experience beyond love, peace, joy, and gratitude. Those things all point to that which is beyond. And in our alignment, we become that which is beyond in its clearest expression through us. And as that begins to happen, then every life that our life touches changes, because we are the expression of who we're meant to be. And there is a quiet, a stillness in that alignment that can be felt and is felt by everyone who touches our field. Does that answer your question, Wally?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. How may we serve further? Oh, you can't imagine how magnificent it is to see your faces as you glow with this beauty of touching awareness. It's hard to put into language, but every one of you has that glow, and it's so beautiful to witness. How may we serve further?
Hi, it's Kath.
Hi, Kath. How you doing?
I am good. How are you?
Good.
I can already tell by seeing you, so
We're so happy to see you.
too. This is actually a follow-up to Wally's question because all of the second part that you talked about Annassa assisting with the expansion, opening that expansion and all that was tied into his question about if I have a problem that I can't solve and I do Ho'oponopono. What about if you just want to have that assistance for the expansion that's not
Perfect.
with a specific problem? Or is that the
Perfect.
problem?
No, 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 no. Uh, let us just feel into that for a second. So you can just ask to be informed. You can ask for confirmation that you are in alignment with your blueprint. You can ask to be shown. You can ask to be more, to feel more, to you can ask a simple question, what is more? Does that help?
It does. Thank you.
How may we serve further? Andrew? Brenda? Anything? I don't want to leave out the people who are physically present who often get ignored. We are so looking forward to a time when we can have people be physically present here too. We miss that. Although, isn't it interesting to notice how much the camera doesn't lose in energetic transmission? And so we're going to expand a little bit on that and say that as we do our inner work, the energetic sphere of our influence expands as our understanding of who and what we are and what our alignment with our blueprint looks and feels like. As that expands, so does our energetic influence in the whole, because it's just the nature of how energy works. Our expansion inside ourselves expands our sphere of influence in the three-dimensional reality, because we merge with the energetic atmosphere around us, and our alignment naturally influences the alignment of the energies that we are participating with. Alignment is it's a powerful experience in and around us. And as our field expands, that alignment also expands and becomes available to any life form that enters that field, or that field encompasses, is maybe a better way to say it. And this is why we often say that what happens in the unseen has so much potency to it. That inner work is the most profound thing that we can do as service. It doesn't mean that outer service is unnecessary, because very often outer service is how we can get the feedback that we can't always receive just from the back and forth in our mind. That when we engage our environment in service, and any kind of service, doesn't matter what, but making an effort to participate in it doesn't matter how we participate. You know, participating in nature is participation. Going on a walk and feeling the expansion of the flowers as we experience spring. You know, seeing the ducks on the pond and their flow with the water, their flow in themselves, their their arguments with each other, their, whatever it is we see in nature and participating in that, this is feedback. And service is our offering of participation in however we do it, whatever it is that we do. And for all of us, that will be different. Service is cooking a meal for yourself and whoever you're with. Service is, smiling at the person you just opened the door for at the grocery store. Especially now, everybody's kind of like this as they're out in the pandemic. It's getting better, but, there's a lot of that. And if you can just be, you'll be amazed to see that whoever it is your eyes just interacted with, they go, too, because, it's so easy to just get contracted. And everything has been so fear-based in the last year in our interactions with each other. Oh my God, are you going to give me this virus? That's been our underlying thought for the last year every time we go out and engage with people. So, as we get vaccinated and feel safer in our world, that's changing. But every interaction we have with people is an opportunity for us to project our ease, at least, rather than engaging the fear. How may we serve further? And yes, Wally, you're reminding us, nurturing pose is always available. We haven't talked about that for a long time, but nurturing pose is when you put your hand over your heart and the other hand around your belly button, and you just love yourself. And if you notice, if you were holding a baby, this is exactly where you would put your hands to hold that baby close to you. So you are holding yourself, your most intimate expression of divinity. You are holding in nurturing pose. It's okay. It's okay to be whole. It's okay to be who you are. And I love you. Thank you. I'm sorry it's hard. I love you. Thank you. I'm sorry. Can you still hear me? Mm. So we're going to share something with you because as we speak through Rebecca, you may think that her experience is what you're feeling in this moment always. She woke up this morning in pain, psychic pain, no explanation, no why or what's happening, or, just pain, heart pain. And so the things that she's describing to you as what happens with expansion, this is real. Expansion, yes, it's free. This contact is free. It's available. But engaging it is going to break everything inside you in a very, very beautiful way. Incredibly beautiful. What you get to experience is unimaginable from the perspective of everyday reality, because you are entering the realm of the unimaginable. Because 3D reality cannot imagine even fifth dimensional reality. So you are challenging your being to actually expand. And that expansion means that you bump up against concrete walls that you have been unable to perceive because they've formed your perception of reality as you began to mature as a human being. And you were informed by your external reality that this matrix of belief is the only one. And if you try to break out, you will be punished by the rewards and punishment system that rules life. So as you challenge that rewards and punishment system that is the matrix of belief, you have to engage deeply so that you can hold fast to your dedication to the truth of what is, instead of being constantly brought back to the matrix of belief that would have you believe that you're less than and you must be controlled and stay in this reality that doesn't allow your expansion into the beauty of the love, peace, joy, and gratitude that we all came from. That which is beyond, which is available to every human being, not just 1 in 3 million or 3 billion. It's available to every single one of us, and all we have to do is engage it. Go to the Annassa temple. Really become the depth that is available to us in every moment. But it's not all about pain, but there is some pain. And it's not even no pain, no gain. It's not like that. It's whatever is in the moment is completely welcome. And show me what's beyond that. This is what we're cultivating in ourselves. This awe and wonder at the beingness of our own potential, or the potential of our own beingness is probably a better way to say it. We are nothing but pure potential. at our core. And this is what we are engaging. How may we serve further? Brenda, anything?
Nothing specific, but I continue to be drawn to that a year ago, as we were doing this, we were in such a different state, for all the energies around us, with the leadership of this country anyway, of COVID, all the fear of the unknown. And in this spring right now, with all of that, there seems to be a new, or there seems to be an awakening. So it's just an observation, and if there's anything that, um, are we getting comfortable again? Is everything really okay? And this is how I feel like there's a little pensiveness or hesitancy in in that expansion. Like, is it okay? Like peeking out a door and the sun's out, things seem, there's such a wanting and a willingness to forget the, I'll say the traumas of the past year, um, and the wanting to move forward, and yet I feel the hesitancy in doing that. And I guess maybe my question, if I had a question, would be, is that real? Is that made up? Is it fear? Is that fear founded? Um, because I think for me anyway, there is a wanting to expand, and that could just be a personal, uh, you know, my view from this seat at the moment. But that's what's showing up for me, that kind of conversation. I'm sorry it's not more thought through, but it was just more free flowing.
Well, we'll tell you what we see about the virus at this moment. And that is that these variants, first of all, this virus has a limited lifespan because it kills its host. Any being in nature that kills its host can't survive because it kills whatever it meets. So, there's a limit to how long it can live. So there's that. So the virus has a limited lifespan already, which is coming to an end. And these variants are the attempt at the virus to survive, right? Everything that lives is going to try to survive with everything it has. So it's changing, trying to adapt to the environment for survival. These are last gasps of the virus. It cannot survive because it kills its host. And it's not, it's about done. And the other thing that has been shown is that the vaccines are effective against the variants. So because we live in a country where everybody's getting vaccinated pretty quickly, we are protected. At least that's how it appears in this moment. Let's feel into it. We haven't felt for a few days into this. Well, there are places where the virus is definitely having its way. And there's a lot of pain and suffering. But it is as we look at the forces, it is diminishing like this. This is what we did. It is coming to a close. And of course, the wanting to get back to the same as we had before is there, what we perceive that sameness to be. But it's now different. So it's not going to be like it was before. It's going to be some different. And so each of us in ourselves is going to have to decide how to be with the fear that we didn't have before the virus. You know, before we kind of knew we'd get the flu every year or so, maybe every 2 years. But there was always this sense that we would recover, that it was a non-event. So we will have to decide within us, which is, you know, it leads us to the greater question of how are we going to deal with the potential of our death, which is really the underlying question whenever fear arises. This is a finite body, it's going to die. And no matter how much peace we come to with that concept, every time it rises up newly, it feels like we haven't dealt with it at all. Not true. We have. And as we re-engage it each time, we affirm our confidence in the understanding that when we die, we are as eagerly awaited on the other side as our arrival is awaited on this side when we are born. If we just inhabit that concept, that will take us a long way. And then we have the understanding that it is the prime directive of our physical body to survive. And so there will be moments as we engage in the dying process where the survival mechanism will start screaming. And that's okay. That's to be expected. And we make our peace with that because we know it's coming. We understand it. We understand it as a wave of emotion that too will pass. And then there is expansion into the new. And it will inform us. There is definitely a period of engaging our blueprint and agreements. And that's what we can share in this moment. And the knowledge that whoever has gone through that process and come back to tell us about it has experienced it. They don't talk about pain and limitation. They talk about white light, joy, expansion, seeing God, being God, and then being told to come back. That's what they talk about. So we can take that into ourselves. There is nobody who's gone there and come back who has reported a different experience than that. So we can take that as reality. That's what will happen. Heaven and hell are what we are living in this moment, not what's waiting for us. Hell is our self-rejection. Heaven is our self-acceptance. This is what we're talking about. And in its simplicity, that's the truth. Heaven is our love. Hell is our rejection. We get to pick every moment of every day. We are either loving ourselves or rejecting ourselves. And we can always find good reasons for either choice. One completely limits us, the other one completely takes the bounds off. We choose in every moment. Our matrix of belief would have us believe that we have no choice. We are hapless victims with no control, but we get to choose in every moment. He loves me not. He loves me, he loves me not. What child has not done that? We do this with ourselves every minute of every day, but we have the choice. So let's meditate for a few minutes. We talked a little bit too long. And in this meditation, just take your awareness to each of the energy centers, however you experience them, and allow this energy to come into you in whatever way is comfortable for you. And so for the next few minutes, we will be broadcasting from the 12th dimension to you for your highest benefit. We have so totally enjoyed being with you. Take your attention inside and allow yourself to experience each of your energy centers in whatever way pleases you. Thank you so much for being here. It brings us so much joy to be with you. Thank you.